Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com's tactics trainer. I'm going to try 3 more puzzles and just share my thoughts along the way. So, alright, in this one, it's white to move, and it feels like we're close to having some fork against the black king. 2 knights around, a bishop here as well, that could be doing something. Forcing the king onto a square maybe, so that a knight could deliver a fork or some pin and skewer type of situation. I've seen puzzles like these before. It's sheer calculation skill, something that I lack. So, okay, let's see. Okay, checking moves. What do we have to start? This knight, he's on the same color square as this guy, so he could give check a couple ways. Knight here, and pawn push, all give check. Having said that, actually looking first at the black side, this queen, if black has an opportunity to move, this queen can't really do so much. She can't move and do something so great to the white side. There's no checking move, at least. There is, however, a queen move here that would pin the bishop, and it seems like she'd be quite inaccessible to a knight fork or a bishop move at that point, since the bishop would be pinned. And if she's on this square, she has a ton of other options. So I think the idea will be to be quite forceful, not even allow black a moment to run away with the queen to this square, or she also has a8 if she wanted to go there. So anyhow, I think it'll be a checking move to start. Okay, now which checking move? Of these 2 knight moves, I don't feel that it would be this one. Oh, I'm sorry, this one right here, since he's not as central. Knight here, there's king here, and then I don't see what the great follow-up would be. This might be the first one, actually. This check. Why would it be that? What makes you think that it would be that move? I am not sure. Okay. Pawn check? Not even sure where to start with this. Huh. Okay. How many options does the king have? Let's just say it's black's move. Maybe that's a way I could start with this one. If it's black's move, black has 3 different squares the king could be going to. If pawn push here, the king still has 3 squares. 1, 2, oh, you would then have 4 squares. There'd be a new square available. So if pawn check, there's 4 different king moves you would have to be calculating. If the knight gives a check, there would be 3. There's a lot to calculate here. The king is going to have very many options regardless which move you run with to give check. Okay. Let's see. This is tough. If pawn push, if the king goes to any of these 2, maybe this is a good one to start with, in fact. I was saying if pawn push here, the king has 4 squares available. d5, c6, d7, e7. But let's eliminate 2 right away. If pawn push, if the king goes to either of these 2, knight here is a fork of the king and queen. Game over. Alright. So pawn push, the king can't go to these 2. However, he could go here or here. There's probably something seriously wrong with the king being so close to the white pieces by going to this square. Now, what would be so wrong with that? Well, for one, there's another check of a pawn. And if king takes pawn, we have this fork. If that's even the follow-up, but I'm just saying if pawn push, king here, pawn push with check, the king would have to play here or here, actually. Maybe there's something else even. If pawn push king here, now this bishop might even play a role. With some trick with like knight takes pawn here with the fork. Not quite working just yet, but there might be something to some pin if the king is playing on this diagonal. Bishop g2 stuff. How to get this black queen. I'm still running with this one. Pawn push. Pawn push if king here. Eliminated these two. Working on the d5, king d5 move in response to c5. c5, king d5. This knight can't move and give check. This knight could. I doubt it'd be a knight move, though. Some knight move, and then there's king takes pawn on c5. He's running away in this direction. Kind of discount that variation. Pawn push, king d5, pawn c4 check, king d4. There's king d4 and there's king here also. If king d4, oh man, I don't like these puzzles. this specific one right here. Pawn push, king d5, pawn push, king d4. It's too tough for me. Too tough. c5, king d5, c4. I'm just not seeing it. Is there something other than pawn push? Should I already abandon that? Who else has those thoughts? you want to just quit? I don't know. Let's show me the solution. How about that? Let's move on to the next puzzle. Ah, man. Pawn push. What if the king runs away in this direction? Let's see how smart you are now. c5 king here. Maybe I could forget about that because of this move. Oh, man. What's the good follow-up after that? If c5 king here, what great things do you have available now? Knight check? Who cares? King here. Now what? That's a bunch of garbage, this move, I think. I'm setting myself up to sound really foolish if that is the first move. All right, stay tuned. I'm not sure what else to even consider. Knight check here. Oh, hang on. Knight check here. King here. Hang on. Knight check here. King here. Knight check. The king can't go here still because of this knight move. So knight check on this square. If the king plays here, what do you even do? Oh, no, that wouldn't be it. I was thinking knight check king here, knight takes pawn. That's definitely not it. The queen gets to take with check. Wow. Feels like this should be it, maybe. The king is quite limited. This is the most forcing, I guess you could say. Knight f5. King here to e6. Oh, man. Knight check, king here. Knight check on d4 with the fork, pawn takes. Bishop h3 check. This is very difficult for me to visualize. Bishop checks, so what? King here. I'm not seeing the solution to this one. I've devoted way too much time to it. I'm just going to make a move, and I know it's wrong. No, it's right. Oh, man, it makes me feel really good, right? I think this might be it. Yeah. It is correct, but I don't know the reason why. It's not a good feeling. Not a good feeling. Knight check here. If pawn takes... He doesn't have to take, though. He doesn't have to take. That's the problem. I mean, he does have to take in that position. I'm sorry. Knight here, pawn takes. But after like a bishop check, the king could just run away. You don't have to take here. If knight check, pawn takes, bishop check, if queen takes, knight takes, f4 would be a fork. But black isn't forced into taking like that. Is there some... There might be some sneaky bishop to g2 move. Oh my goodness. Knight check here, pawn takes. Bishop g2. Are you kidding me? It's bishop g2. Oh my goodness. That is it. This is a ridiculously tough problem for me. These strictly calculation problems, that is correct. What a quiet move. And now you're forced into doing something, and then that's it. Okay, now you take the queen. All right. Oh, that was one that's causing me a headache. Okay, I think at the start of this video I said I was going to do 3 puzzles. That one wore me out, so I'm just going to do one more. Let's try one more. That was very taxing on me, I must say. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, like, those are ones that I usually skip. I don't know. Like, I like ones that are ones that I could get. No, I didn't really mean to say that. What am I trying to say? I like ones that are maybe a bit more realistic. Like this one. You could really see this one in an actual game. But then again, there are these constructed endgame problems, like a self-stalemate one that was composed. Certain composed ones I like, but I just don't like those types of problems. But this one seems quite realistic. Let's see what we could do with this one. Black to move here. Okay. Well, I'd really like to move this pawn and give a check and pick up this rook. But how do you get this queen out of here? Okay, let's work on that. Might be doable. In fact, you could play here, force the queen off of this square, but you are investing a full rook to do just that. Alright. So this is a candidate move. There are no checking moves to start with, so the next great big punch you could be throwing at white would be to attack the queen, if there is a queen, and there is. Rook c2 would do just that, and you're pretty much, as white, locked into taking the rook. Okay. And then if pawn push, that is check, but do you have a great follow-up after king here? I mean, you could get the rook back. I mean, you're investing a rook to get a rook back and give up a valuable pawn. Ooh. However, maybe queen here is a possibility. For if queen takes queen, now the pawn promotes. Oh, I'm sorry, now the pawn moves with check, picks up the rook with check, and produces a new queen. I think that's it. Queen here. Queen takes, pawn push with check, followed by taking the rook, getting a new queen, and you're up material, you're up a full rook. If queen here and then rook to e1, trying to maintain the queen's position in some way. There's rook here. It's also maybe worth noting there's a flight square for the king in case this knight ends up moving. There's not a good follow-up. Like if the queens are off the board, there's not going to be some back rank mate. So queen here, I'm trying to look at now some alternatives. I'm pretty sure queen takes, I know what I'm doing. However, after queen here, let's say, I was just going to say, what if knight here? You just take the knight. You're still on the queen. Queen takes queen, same story, pawn push, take the rook next. So if queen here, if the knight moves to defend the queen, by way of c1, you take the knight. And if knight here to defend the queen, I think the ensuing move, rook c2, is going to be quite strong. Same story with queen here, rook e1, rook c2 as a follow-up. I'm pretty sure that this is it. Queen to a2, let's go with it. I've invested enough time, and that is in fact correct. And we are having knight to f4, and I believe that this is the follow-up. Rook to c2. Alright, you take the queen, the knight takes, and you could play rook c2, but then there's king here. I believe you have to kick the queen immediately. Now there are some checks. Rook c2, if rook c2 right now, there is a rook check, king here. It's important that there's this flight square. There's a queen check here, but then after a block, there's some serious threats to the back rank here, queen a1 or b1. Initially, I was thinking the rook could maybe come over here to be giving check. And maybe he could, actually. The knight could take, but there's queen f2, queen f2 to e1, stuff like that. But queen a1 to b1, queen to a1 or b1 is probably good enough. So I'm pretty sure rook c2 is it. And that is correct. There is a check. That's an only move. Queen check, and you block with this pawn. Don't forget about that en passant stuff, and that is actually it. That's the end of this problem. There's now not going to be a good solution to the queen playing here to a1 or b1 to deliver mate, or even advancing this pawn with check and then promoting on the next turn. Okay, yeah, that first one really wore me out, and I'm not going to do a third problem in this one. So feel free to share how you did with these two problems, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye.